Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we're continuing with our weekly series of Shirim on the light of Dovid HaMelech. And being that Dovid HaMelech represents Malchus itself, and Rosh Hashanah represents Malchus, we're going to spend some time thinking about Rosh Hashanah, Malchus, Hashem's kingship, and the avoda of Dovid HaMelech. Ultimately, it's Hashem's Malchus, it's Hashem's desire to reveal himself as a king, so to say, which necessitates our existence as recipients of that kingship. All other qualities of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, all other potencies of the infinite, could be revealed without receptivity. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon and Chachma and Bina and Chesed and Gevura and Teferes and Netzach and Hod and Yesod, all of those things are rooted in expressivity. And expression is ultimately independent of receptivity. It does not need to be received in order for it to take shape. Something can be revealed, and that revelation itself is its revelation, irrespective of whether it's received and witnessed. When it comes to Malchus, on the other hand, when it comes to God's kingship, there's a klal, there's a general principle, which is Ein Melech Belo Am. There is no kingship other than a kingship that reveals itself upon those who accept kingship. So it turns out, and this is something that's rooted in the Svarim HaKadoshim, and we've discussed it in the past, but we're not going to go fully into it because it's the roots of everything, that when it came time for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to reveal the world, when it came time for Hashem to uncover this latent desire and ratzon towards creation, the only place that really was blocked and that needed a tzimtzum and a contraction so that there can be something else revealed in order to receive it was Malchus. Vayihi ra'av ba'aretz, and there was a hunger in the land. The aretz is Malchus. When it comes to Hashem wanting to reveal his Malchus, Kavyachol, we awaken a certain element of the desire of Hashem, that Hashem wants to be revealed. That desire of Hashem, that wanting to be revealed, necessitates the capacity of creatures and creation to receive that and to accept that kingship. When it comes to any other midah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there was no hunger, there was no desire, because the revelation itself was the revelation. But when it comes to Malchus, when it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's governance over a territory that appears to be concealed, in that place there needs to be recipients, there needs to be creatures, there needs to be something that's apparently other than godliness, ready to receive and to testify and to accept that Malchus. So it's ultimately all about the Malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that's being revealed. And each and every year, HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides to reveal his kingship once again, because as the Balatanya points out, each and every year has its potency, its vitality, its illumination through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to reveal himself to creation. And then Rosh Hashanah is where we go back beyond that change and we have to awaken that Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu for another year to reveal himself as king for the year. When it comes to kingship, what is this midah of Malchus? The midah of Malchus that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to reveal to us, and that's being revealed on Rosh Hashanah, is the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Klal Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Jewish people. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Olam. Hashem wants the world from a language of He'elem, from a language of concealment, to come and accept his kingship. That is the ultimate purpose. It's not enough for Hashem to reveal his light, for Hashem to reveal his absolute infinitude, for Hashem's annihilating infinite light to saturate all things to the degree that it's impossible to conceive or imagine anything other than God. That's not what Hashem wants in this world, so to say. That pre-existed this world. Hashem's light was everywhere revealed, just as it was prior to creation, just as it is currently in the time of creation, and just as it will be after creation. Hashem's infinite light from the perspective of the above, the upper unity, is ever present. It is not deficient. It does not need anything. It does not need human beings to receive it. Malchus itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's desire to crown himself specifically in the lowest territories imaginable, that demands the existence of creation, and that creation which is wedged within concealment, that we come to a place of accepting his kingship. That's the Chiddush of Rosh Hashanah. That specifically human beings, rooted in concealment, rooted in constriction, rooted in changes, the up and the down and the opening and the closing and the connection and the disconnection and the light and the darkness, to be animal and more than animal at once, it's specifically in this place that Hashem wants to reveal his kingship. Why? Because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided. Does it have to be this way? No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided that it would be this way, that Malchus can only be revealed by those recipients who are other than the Melech. But once we operate within the field in which these are the rules and the regulations through which HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to reveal himself, the creation of the world is the opportunity for us as apparently separate creatures, creatures who live within the concealment of godliness to the degree that we function more often than not with a perception of separation and independence from the infinite vitality of divine flow. That specifically us, these separated creatures that operate at the lowest place imaginable, in the Dir B'Tachtonim, in the mindset of separation and independence, that we come to recognize God as King. That's what Rosh Hashanah is. From a place of shichacha, from a place of darkness, from a place of forgetfulness, from the Beis HaAsurim like Yosef HaTzadik, from that place, Bekesel Yom Chagenu, in the darkness and the blackness of Malchus, that Nekudas Shchira of the Bas Ayin, specifically there in the depths of the depths, the Oimek Tachas, that's where HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be Mitgaleh. Mima Amakim Krasicha Hashem. It's one thing for Hashem to be king in the Elyonim, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be king in the Tachtoinim. And not only the Tachtoinim, but the Tachtoinim of the Tachtoinim, the lowest imaginable place, in the Tohim Rabbah. Mima Amakim, Mechoshach HaKaflu Mechupel, Hastara B'toicha Hastara. That's where Hashem wants to be crowned. And it's our job each and every year to be the recipients of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's glory, to be the ones who accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship, to realize that even though I don't necessarily see your kingship in a revealed way, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, nevertheless, I believe in your kingship. I have a ratzon ne'elam, a deep bond and connectivity that believes, that has emunah, the ultimate goal of all existence, to have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship, and the divine governance and hashgacha pratis, and the fact that that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this world for goodness, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to understand that goodness and experience that goodness in a level of revealed goodness, not just abstract goodness that is not yet revealed itself, where we have to say, oh, that must be Hashem's perception of goodness. No, we have to demand each and every year that Hashem, if you want us to be your servants, if you want us to accept you as king, then we know your true desire. True desire is the ultimate goodness, Toiv Hanira V'Hanigla, and each and every year on Rosh Hashanah, we're demanding that. We're saying HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Malchei Amlochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Malchuska Malchuska Loilamim. And the Melech is Peretz Geder, and the Melech doesn't have to listen to any of the constrictions. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have the ability to reveal your fundamental unity down here so that we can receive it, and we will continue to be separate. Somehow, some way, even after you reveal your fundamental oneness, we will continue to persist in our apparent separation so that we will continuously need to remember you as King. But on Rosh Hashanah, we come and we say, Hashem, from this place where it appears that that goodness is concealed, this is where you want us to serve you, and we are going to force you, so to say, to reveal yourself down here towards us. How? Through the stubborn faith and the stubborn persistence and the tekiyas hashofar that comes mima'amakim, from the choshech hakafalu mechupel, from that last place that remains within ourselves, from the nakuda of emuna, that irreducible point of emuna. That's where we're going to crown you from. Now, Rabbi Nachman tells us, and Rabbi Nachman says about himself that the reason that he walks around with the Leiv Nishbar, the reason that he walks around with a certain brokenheartedness that is perpetually seeking more of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's revelation in this world, perpetually seeking out the face of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that rests behind the concealment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, always being Mavakesh Panecha Sela, always searching out the place of the Beis Hamikdash, always looking for an opportunity to crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king within the places in which it appears that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not present. Rabbi Nachman explains that the reason he was walking around with the Leiv Nishbar is ultimately because he's from the Zera of Dovid HaMelech. And those who come from the mishpacha of Dovid HaMelech have that natural tendency to look at the world and see the absence of godliness and to yearn forward from within that place, within that vacuity, and to cry out for the revelation of godliness. This is the midah of David Malka Mashiach. Mibeten Sha'ol Sha'avasi, from the depths of the depths I cry out to you. This is the setup. This is the stage that HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates for us in this Welt. This is what's being revealed over and over and over again. The Dir B'Tachtonim, another opportunity for us to crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king in this world, specifically in a place of distance. It's not a chiddush for the Malachim to crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king because they see HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They have a revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But for Krutzei Chomer, for the individuals down here in the stuckness of it all, in the stuckness within the stuckness, and all of the various elements and symptoms, they should be as simple as they need to be, Rahman al-Itzlan. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, down here, a person has to fight for an emunah in you. And this is the Ikar Nakuda. This is the main point of Malchus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew this. Kadosh Baruch Hu didn't just want to reveal his kingship in a place where it was absolutely obvious. By definition, it's the avodah of emuna, that emunas chabalelos. There has to be a preceding element of darkness and constriction and concealment that leads to the mind thinking for a moment that Hashem is not ever present. That enables me in the next moment to make the tnua within my mind, that gentle shift within my mind that opens up the light and reveals to me that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is present. That's the tnua, that's the kishut. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to come out of the constriction and to reveal even more light. That was the entire purpose of the descent to begin with. To be mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu al atzmeinu in each and every place that we find, in each and every corner of concealment and revelation that we, in our own individualized selves and the singularity of our experiences, only have the capacity to reveal. Each and every one of us are writing our book of Tehillim, which is revealing HaKadosh Baruch Hu in those pockets of concealment. This is the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Ratzon of the Melech, the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Malchei Amlachim, is that he wants to give us this chesed, the chesed of being able to reveal him, the chesed of being able to believe in him, the chesed in being able to crown him as king, so that it comes to a certain point where if we don't crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king, then in that place that we're operating, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship is not revealed. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given the kingship over to us in our lifetime. Rosh Hashanah is the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is crowned specifically by the acceptance of Klal Yisrael of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king. That if it were not for the acceptance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king Kavyachol on a certain level in accordance with the secret of Avodah L'Tzorach Tavoah, that the work down here that we do is of an essential nature and it does something, so to say, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kavyachol, is that it's through our acceptance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship in the territories of concealment that we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as Melech Malchei HaMelech, and we reveal the depths of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship. Now, obviously, Hashem is always king. Obviously, Hashem doesn't need us to accept his kingship in order to be king. Obviously, Hashem doesn't need the consciousness of the neshama to be aware of him in order for him to be present. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence is independent of any cognition, of any understanding, of any grasp. But nevertheless, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was rotze in this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created this theatrical space of malchus, this very real, unreal thing, which is that it's our job to crown him as king. And it's only through our crowning him as king that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's true kingship is going to be revealed. This is the chesed gadol of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that he wants us to be part of the process. He wants Klal Yisrael, he wants the neshama to feel that it is participating in the process of the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's godliness. This is the movement, the adornment to perfection that emerges from within the emergence of imperfection itself. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was always perfect, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu created a secret, the Malchus, the Tzimtzum, Rosh Hashanah, the Makom of the Tzimtzum, the Chalal Apanui, which is a Makom of Chisaron. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants is that from within that Nakuda of Chisaron, from within that position of deficiency and constriction and destitution and impoverishment, it's specifically there that we have to climb back up again to reveal an even deeper dose of light, so that the descent from the clarity down into the confusion is ultimately so that the confusion can come and accept a deeper light of clarity, a light of clarity that is not dependent on anything being clarified, but rather a fundamental clarity that reveals itself within the opposite of itself, within the confusion. That's where we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'kesel yom chagenu, not in times of revelation, specifically in times of constriction and concealment. Rabbi Nachman opens up his last tale of the Sheva HaBatlarim with a story of Rosh Hashanah, a story of the creation of the world that is happening anew each and every moment that we come into consciousness. Is that there was a king who had a radical secret that he wanted to reveal, and that was that he wanted his child to become king even during his own lifetime. And this was the chiddush. Sheratza latet et hamelucha lebno k'sha'adayin b'chayev. The king wanted to give over kingship to his child, even when the king himself was still alive. Now, this goes in the face of what we understand as the process of monarchy, of kingship, being conveyed one generation to the other. That it can't be that there are two kings who are operating with the same crown. That's the rule that regulates existence. That if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is king, then nothing else could be king. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all revealed, then there can be no concealment. But what HaKadosh Baruch Hu desired is that even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu is king, even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light is everywhere illuminated, nevertheless, he wants his children, Klal Yisrael, to be the ones who accept his kingship, to also play a role in the kingship. Even when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still alive, meaning to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives over. He gives over in the midst of his revelation the capacity, the secret of Rosh Hashanah, which is the ability to find him within concealment. How can there be concealment if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still ever present, that the king is still alive? Kavyachol, how can he give the role of owning kingship over to his children? This is the radical secret of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that wanted to give the gift to Nishmas Yisrael, that we get to be participatory agents in the process of the unfolding unity, that we get to taste Olam Haba in Olam Haza, that we get to see the Yichud in process, that we get to see each and every moment how from within the disunity and how within the dysfunction there emerges a higher order of unity, a higher order of functioning. This is the secret of the king who wanted to give kingship over to his son in the lifetime of the king. That even though Hashem is still ever present and everywhere revealed, he wants us to feel. He wants us to feel that we are fundamental agents in the process of revealing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship in this world. And there's a tremendous simcha that comes from that, because we get to experience the unfolding process of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light. But that also means that because we're going to feel like we're the owners and we're responsible for the revelation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light in this world, there are going to be moments where it appears that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light is not present, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be the ones who crown him as king. And therefore, this gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, this gift of Rosh Hashanah, the ability to crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king and to scream HaMelech from wherever it is that we find ourselves, necessitates a certain element of bekesel yom chagenu, a concealment, not a real concealment, because there is no real concealment, but a concealment that is a revelation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzamsim himself so that we can crown him as king. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, and the king says to his son in the story, that on one condition am I going to allow you to be king. There's one condition that I have, says Hashem, says the Melech, to his child when it comes to accepting his kingship. It's that we're worthy of being king as long as we're happy. We're worthy of being king. We're worthy of participating in the relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, where we are boira oilamos as well, kavyachol, by way of accepting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship in our pockets of concealment. That the prerequisite for this is that we cannot fall into sadness, God forbid, when we fall away from our kingship. We cannot fall into hopelessness. We cannot fall into destitution and darkness when we feel that things are not going the way that we need them to go. When we feel that Hashem is not being revealed in our lives, when we feel that we're not doing our job to reveal Hashem in our lives, when we feel that we've messed up or we've missed the opportunity to be Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu because we fell in the all too human confines of human constriction, the fundamental thing is that we cannot lose hope. We cannot fall into sadness. We cannot fall into despair, because despair is when we feel we're no longer part of the picture. Despair is when we feel that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is king even without us. Despair takes me out of the picture of the participatory role that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants Nishmas Yisrael to play. Joy, everlasting joy, the perpetual persistence of joy is the awakening that I have the ability to start again and crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king over myself in this moment at each and every second. There's never a time where I'm far away from being able to reveal the malchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu down here. The prerequisite for participating in the unfolding process of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's light and kingship is that I cannot become despondent as a result of my falls. I cannot lose hope. I cannot knock myself out. I cannot take myself out of the picture. I'm always in the picture. Why? Because that's the picture that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to create. Dovid HaMelech was operating from a place of destitution, from a place of always thinking he was out of the picture, but perpetually picking himself up again and remembering, no, I am the picture, I am the Tmuna. Tmuna Hashem Yabit. It's specifically through us that the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to emerge. It's specifically through the Yad HaNevi'im Adame, the Yadayim of Dovid Malka Mashiach, the Dimyon de Kedusha, the secret of accepting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Malchus through our own volitional acceptance and screaming HaMelech. That's going to be the Hiskalus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And so we have to overcome that tendency towards despondency, overcome that tendency towards losing hope. Now, Hashem is obviously the one who's always in charge. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who gives us this gift of feeling that we play a role in revealing his kingship. But that's the decision that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made. The Rebbe Shlita quotes from Josephus that if anybody asks the king who's in charge, the king is going to say the Malka, the queen. And if anybody asks the queen who's in charge, the queen is going to say the child is in charge. Because that's the ratzon of the Melech, to give the queen the capacity to place the son in charge. But everybody knows that in the end of the day, it's the Melech who's making those decisions. So too with regards to our understanding of Avodah L'Tzarach Gavoa, that Hashem desires our avodah. Hashem desires, so to say, that we participate in the process of revealing his kingship. That we're shutfim with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we're the shluchim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shliach shel adam kamoso, to reveal his light in constriction. Now, obviously, that's not because we're powerful. Obviously, it's not because we have anything of our own. Obviously, it's not because we are of independent existence, God forbid. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Eino in Milvado, Leis Aser Panim Minei, Kula Kaima Kiloi Chashive, Kula Kaima Loi Chashive. There's nothing other than HaKadosh Baruch Hu, other than the desire that HaKadosh Baruch Hu awoken within the depths of his unfathomable Ratzon, that we should feel that we're participating in this process. And once HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us that he wants us to participate in this process, it doesn't matter if theoretically or theologically we can't understand how it's possible that Hashem needs our acceptance of his kingship in order to be king. That's where we find ourselves. And this is the radical responsibility that the Jewish neshama and all of humanity feels when they encounter the depth of the heart, which is that if I accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu here right now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be revealed. If I don't accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu right here, right now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to be revealed in my mind. And so the fundamental piece is that we have to always, always, always overcome this tendency towards despondency, because that's what takes us out of the position of being able to reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship in this moment right now. And this is what Dovid HaMelech reveals to us. This is the avoid of tshuva. That the thing that takes us away from Hashem is the feeling that we're not doing it right, is the feeling that I don't know how, I don't know how to move forward, Rabbeinu Shalom, I don't know how to break free of this habit or this trait or this midah ra'ah. I don't know how to overcome this fear, this concern, or this anxiety. I don't know how to remove myself and extricate myself and untether myself from the vacuous tendencies that I get stuck in as a human being. I don't know how to break free from the vicious cycle. I feel that I've been knocked out over and over. Sukas David Hanofelas, falling, falling, falling. Shevi Yipol HaTzadik V'kam. And each and every time a person falls, they feel that they've been beaten, and the gig is up, and we can't reveal HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem doesn't want to be revealed through us, is what our minds tell us. Because why would Hashem want to be revealed from such a broken thing, from such a deficient thing, from such a thing that finds itself stuck in the dust? But what the tzaddikim tell us and what Dovid Malka Mashiach reveals to us is that Adar Abba Ibcha Mastabra, it's Dafka Sham, Dafka us, right here, right now, in the stuckness, in the individualized simsumim of each and every one of our lives, the simsum of our mind and our hearts and our bodies, the simsum of our conditions, the simsum of our microsystems and our macrosystems, the simsum of our psychological history and the pre-psychological history, all of the tzimtzumim, all of the midos, that is the palace in which HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to be revealed. And what we have to do is fight the tendency towards despondency at every moment, fight the tendency towards hopelessness, and perpetually reawaken the capacity of being Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu right here, right now. That just as HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Melech that's paritz together, so too we're the Melech that's paritz together. And Bnei Yisrael are Bnei Malachim heim. We choose to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu like a servant that knows absolutely nothing, but we're also the child of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that knows everything. We're the child that decides to serve the king like an Eved. We're Mevatel our das, and we say, even though I think I'm far from you, Hashem, even though I feel so distant from you, I'm overcoming that and I'm coming close to you again. I'm showing up again. I'm going to crown you as Melech, even if I have to scream HaMelech from the back of the room. Even if I feel completely stuck, it's going to be from that place that I crown you. And when I crown you from that place, Rabbeinu Shalom, leis aser panimine, because in this place that I stand right now, in this momentary blip on the radar of distance, it feels like it's an eser panimine. It does, God forbid, sometimes in the mind feel like it's a place that's devoid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence. But then when we lean into the bittul and we become the leis lemagar meklum, we attach that nothingness and it's leis aser panimine. There's no place devoid of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We begin from that Eser Panimine, we feel that Hashem is distant, and then we come to a place of Leis Aser Panimine. Over and over and over, Leis Aser Panimine, remembering that no, there's no place that's distant from you, Hashem. There's no place in which I can't crown your light. There's no place in which I can't reveal your fundamental unity in each and every moment. There's no place distant. And we have to overcome, we have to be victorious over all of the traumatizing perspectives that we've been taught about what it means to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, about what it means to feel that there's an in and an out of being with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We've been taught in the wrong way. We've been taught that sometimes we're with Hashem and sometimes we're not with Hashem. We're winning with Hashem or we're losing with Hashem. But the secret of Rosh Hashanah is that we crown you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the lowest place imaginable, Me'rachok Hashem nearly, and we reveal to you that you're always here, Hashem. And there's no distancing myself, and there's no out of the game. I'm always in the game. I'm always in a process of winning. It might look like losing from an external perspective, but Dovid HaMelech is the secret of the Balei Tshuva, the one who is always perpetually revealing the perpetual flow of Tchias HaMesim, where that which appears to be dead and that which appears to be stuck and that which appears to be devoid is ultimately revealing itself to be illuminated and filled and higher than we could have ever imagined. But it demands an overcoming of our spiritual tendencies. It demands an overcoming and a counterintuitive posture in spirituality that we have to perpetually stand up strong and say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I am here, Hineni, Ana Zamin Lemeheve, I'm here. I'm ready, Hashem. I'm ready to serve you. Reveal yourself to me, and I'm ready to accept your kingship. There's hastaros mitzidi, there's darkness, and there's concealment from my side. Okay, I'll deal with that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but I know enough to know that I'm not out of the game. I'm always with you. There's nothing that takes me out of the game. There's no point in which I can say I'm far from you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm always close to you. You're always close to me because you are all that there is. This is the secret of Malchus. This is the secret of the Malchus of Knesset Yisrael that realizes that it's independent of all things. I have to be able to accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu no matter what. Rabbi Nachman says that for this we have to learn how to be victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to learn how to be victorious over Hashem because sometimes it feels that Hashem doesn't want our avodah. Sometimes we convince ourselves that we're unworthy of avodah and that the avodah is not going to come from us and we're not going to be the ones to bring Mashiach and we're not going to be the ones that the kingship is dependent on. But the secret of Kol Bnei Yisrael Hochen Lefan of Kibrei Maron, that each and every person is gazed at individually on Rosh Hashanah, is that each and every person is the center of the universe, and each and every person has to be able to say, B'shvili Nivra Ha'olam. And as the Meshilach says, that each and every Yid who stands in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's literally as if they are the sum total of Klal Yisrael. And so a Yid has to be victorious over the despondency. A Yid has to be victorious over the Eyush. Zak the Heilige Rebbe in Sichas Aran Os Samech Tes. Zamru Lemi Shemenatzchen Osei V'Sameach. So in Tehillim, one of the Lashonos of Tefillah, one of the Asara Minei Shira, is Lamenatseach. So the conductor. And the Gemara in Pesachim says, what does it mean, Lamenatseach? What is this conductor? If we look at the word Lamenatseach, it also comes from language of netzach, of victory, of endurance, of overcoming constriction. Zimru Lamisha Menatzchen Oisev Sameach. Lamenatseach means that we are the ones who praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are the ones who are victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and He is happy when we're victorious over Him. Nitzchuni b'ni nitzchuni. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Gemara tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes pleasure when Klal Yisrael is able to beat him, Kavyachal, in our argumentation, where we're able to reveal that we're still here with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That even though there's a sensibility of being distant, nevertheless, nitzchuni b'ni nitzchuni, we have the ability of being victorious and showing that, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm still here. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees that we've been minatzeach, that we've been victorious over that momentary feeling of distance, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is joyous. Because that's when HaKadosh Baruch Hu truly understands that we know the simcha. We know the simcha of being melech. As Rabbi Nachman says that, I'll be happy either way, the king says to his son, because either if you maintain happiness when you fall away from kingship, I'll be very happy because you'll know the secret of kingship. And if you don't, then I'll be happy also because you're not worthy to be king. So it's only when we have the secret of being victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be happy, because it's a revelation, Kavyachol, that we understand the true secret, that there's nothing that takes me away from you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I just have to be victorious over those feelings that distance me from you. Because we need to overcome and we need to be victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to speak. What does it mean to be victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu? That even though it might appear to a person's imagination that Hashem does not want our avodah, that Hashem does not want us to come close to Him as a result of the destruction that we have laid in our spiritual and emotional paths, and even now, I'm not doing the right thing in accordance with your will, God. Even now, even when I'm in a state of contrition over my distance, I still don't know how to come close to you. So avad in my mind, I'm going to think, Hashem doesn't need me, Hashem doesn't want me, leave it to the tzaddikim. Afal pi kein tzarech ha'adam l'chazek atzmo biyoter u'lishtateach atzmo lefanav u'lefrosh kapav elav yisparach she'irachem alav yikreveu la'avodasa. Nevertheless, in spite of the fact that we feel so fundamentally distant and we're so convinced that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need us and doesn't want us, nevertheless, we have to strengthen ourselves with immense strength, and we have to throw ourselves in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and spread our hands out in front of Him and beg for mercy, beg for compassion, that Hashem bring us close again to His avodah. That Hashem allow us to understand that He still wants our avodah. In the end of the day, I want to uncover the Nekuda HaYisraeli. I want to uncover that Malchus that remains Hashem. No matter how much my neshama tells me that I'm far from you, no matter how much the spiritual sensibilities that I've been taught in my life tell me I'm far from you, nevertheless, Hashem, I'm being victorious over all of those. I'm destroying them. I'm overcoming them. I'm not paying attention to them. I'll deal with them later. I'm jumping beyond them. L'chatchila a river. I'm throwing myself from the bottom back up to the top, and I'm retaining that Nekudas HaYisraeli, that secret of the Piyazetz Rebbe Hashem Yom Komdoma, where he says on the 40th birthday that all I need at this point is to be a Yisraeli. I have everything else. I just want to be a Yid. I want to uncover the Nekuda Pnimius of the Nekudas HaYahadus, which is the Keser of Malchus, of the Malchus of Keser of Malchus, the Emunah within our capacity to be Moiser Nefesh for Emunah. And we reveal that place of Ani Rotze. Nimsa Sherotze L'Natzeach as Hashem Yisbarach Kavyachol. We're becoming victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're denying all of those elements that keep us stuck. We're denying all of those things that make us feel that we're spiritually inviolable. We're ignoring them. We're pushing away all of those rules and regulations, and we're saying, Hashem, I'm still here. V'Hashem Yisbarach Yesh Lo Simcha Mizeh Shemenatzchenu So Kavyachol. HaKadosh Baruch Hu finds joy in that place when we're able to overcome the assumptions that He doesn't want us. We have to be victorious over HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to perpetually throw ourselves into Avodas Hashem. There's a bilbul hadas. There's a bilbul hadas that comes when a person feels that they're stuck in their spiritual positioning. There's a bilbul that comes when I feel that I can't draw Hashem into my life right now. And that bilbul needs to be overcome. It needs to be shattered. It needs to be broken, like the Talmud Bavli, which is our ability to be menatzeach over HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to be lamdanim. We have to have lamdis after lamdis after lamdis to reveal our righteousness, to uncover the nekudas tovos. Whatever it takes for us to be able to show up in the next moment in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is what's necessary. That's the nitzachon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see from us, that we show up, we say HaMelech from wherever we are. Uman represents the darkest place on earth. It's Bina Shebebina. It's the concealment of all concealment. And it's specifically there, in that light of Uman, the concept of Uman, whether it's in Yerushalayim, whether it's in Uman, or whether it's whatever shul a person is in, the Inyan of Rosh Hashanah is makusher to this makom of Hastara Shebetoicha Hastara. That place where it appears to be so devoid and so distant, and it's specifically there that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants our netzach. It's specifically there that Hashem wants us to understand this true secret that it's just us and Him. It's just us and Him. And ultimately, it's just Him. There's nothing other than Him. In the end of the day, all of the mechitza shel barzel, all of those blockages, all of those partitions, all of those frightening sheaths of concealment that seem to cover over all things, all it is to prepare for the bekesel yom chagenu, to scream out from the depths of that shofar call, mima amakim, to scream out, to be mefayis HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To be mafayis HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to trick HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to trick the Satan, to trick HaKadosh Baruch Hu into realizing the goodness. We have to be victorious over the concealment. And in that place, we crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king. This is the avodah of Rosh Hashanah. The avodah of Rosh Hashanah is to go into the battle with the confidence that Hashem wants me to reveal my spiritual stubbornness, my spiritual potency, the true potency of the soul, the true potency of Nishmas Yisrael. If we knew the secret of Nishmas Yisrael, Mashiach would be here. If we believed as the tzaddikim believed, if we understood what the tzaddikim understood about our neshamos, if we were able to see ourselves the way that tzaddikim see us, if we were able to see with the confidence of the tzaddikim the illumination of the soul, then there would be nothing that stood in our way. We would be able to be payal nisim. We'd be able to fly like the tzaddikim were able to fly. We'd be able to be machayim mesim berachamim rabim. And Rosh Hashanah is the opportunity to uncover this over and over and over. Every moment of distance, every moment of tiredness, every moment of not knowing is just another moment to feel it, pause, pivot, and reconnect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be victorious over and over and over all of the thoughts of Yeish, and transform those thoughts of Yeish into a place of crowning HaKadosh Baruch Hu in further territories, conquering new territories for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, extending the territory of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's kingship, even into the territories where it appears that He's not found. In those places, those pockets of hopelessness, to be victorious over the hopelessness and to draw down the kav of hope and to scream HaMelech and to blow through that shofar and to cry out from Mima Amakim that I don't know how and I don't know what and I don't know where and I don't know why, but nevertheless, you're right here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In that place, it's the secret of being Mamlech HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In that place, it's the secret of tapping in to the light of Dovid HaMelech, who's menatzeach all the time over HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mishta'asheya through that nitzachon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu found pleasure, found simcha in that, because that's what Hashem wants us to do. He wants us to push on past the limit, to reveal that there is absolutely nothing that can hold the neshama down, absolutely nothing that stands in the way of the neshama's inherent bond with the infinite source of itself. And in these tiny moments of closing the eyes and leaning in and overcoming the constriction, overcoming the concealment, overcoming the despondency, overcoming the natural reasons for hopelessness, we draw down simcha. We draw down simcha. We draw down a joy, an unencumbered joy that's not limited to any conditions. It's unconditional. There's a machlokes between the Arizal and the Gra as to how a person should be in a state of Tekiah Shofar. One says that we should be sobbing tears of tshuva, and one says that we should be profoundly joyous. Now, in accordance with what we're saying, there are two elements of the singular coin, as the tzaddikim point out. That first, there's going to be that feeling of fear that I'm far from you, Hashem. I'm far from you, Hashem, and I don't know how to crown you as king. And then from within that distance, we come to realize, Merochok Hashem nirali, I come to realize that, I can crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu as king. And in that place, there's a profound simcha. Why? Because I was minatseach on the Eish. So on the one hand, the beginning of the shofar is, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And in the next moment, when we're able to overcome it and we throw ourselves all the way up with abandonment to that place of simplicity of faith beyond all reason, beyond all confusion, beyond all doubt, that difficulty is transformed into a simcha itself. Zamrin l'misha menatzchen lo v'sameach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is joyous over the fact that we overcome him. So we go from that distance into a place of profound proximity. And that's where we begin the process of coming close to Hashem again through the process of tshuva and the Yamim Tovim. So we have to be menatzeach, we have to be victorious, we have to persist in our relationship to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if we feel nothing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not limited to being felt. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is present in the unfelt nature of it as well. Adarabba, the feeling is an externalization of the unfelt feeling, and the externalization is only a levush. The true essence is not something that can be felt, and therefore we can crown HaKadosh Baruch Hu wherever we are. No matter how much kfira we feel that we're stuck in, nevertheless, we have to be koifrim in that kfira. We have to deny all of those elements that we feel keep us stuck, and we have to be ma'amim be'emuna shlema in our emuna. We have to believe that we have emuna. We have to have profound depths of faith in our faith. In spite of the fact that we don't even know what our faith is, we have to have deep faith in our faith. We have to overcome all of the difficulties. And in that place, we prepare this world to be a place for the hiskalus of Kvod Shemayim. Every pocket of existence is another place of resistance, where we resist the concealment and we say, no, Higalana, it's the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And through that, it's going to be a year. It's going to be a year of Gilui and Pnimius and all of the good things, Be'ezras Hashem.